let's get into it. Is it possible for you to live a life where you never fear a single thing and you go after everything you want just magically? We all want it, right? I want it. The girl next to you wants that. The people who act like they are fearless probably still deep down have some desire to get to the next level of being even less. Fear brings you down. Fear brings you into a place where you can't attract the things you desire. Fear brings you into a place where you attract things that you're more afraid of, and it's just a continuous cycle. Is that possible for you to break? Can you break that cycle? That's really the question of leveling up into the next chapter, where you can experience life on a frequency that is just divine. I think you can live a life without fear. I think it's possible for you. I think it's possible for me. Fear had clouded every single thought that I had. And I was like, there's no possible way a life could exist where this isn't my reality. That's just the starting point. Once you have the idea in your head that it's even a thought that fearless life could exist, that's the first step to take to get to the life you deserve. Thinking that thought, maybe this is possible, that's the first of many, 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 many steps to get to the point where you actually do live a life without a single fearful thought, ever, in any circumstance, no matter where you are. Even if you see a spider, you're not fearful. I know. We can get there. In the end, fear is just an emotion, right? In the beginning, fear is just an emotion. You actually do have control over your emotions. I know. You're like, no, girl, I have never been in control of my emotions. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're in a different place like me, because trust me, it is possible to have coping skills, to have thought processes that you can rely on, to have habits that bring you into a place where you can control your emotions. And we're gonna do a little experiment right now to prove to you that you can be in control of your emotions. Look around right now and find something that makes you happy. For me, my Stanley Cup makes me pretty happy. It has a cute little sticker on it that I got. It's like vintage Glossier sticker, cute, makes me happy. Right in this moment, I chose to look for something that gave me the emotion of happiness, and I found it. And then I got a little happier because I recognized it, right? So you can do the same thing with fear, but it's the opposite. Instead of choosing to focus your attention on something, it's choosing to focus your attention away from something, to choose to focus your attention away from fear. And you can absolutely do that even if you have ADHD. You honestly just have to practice. You have to practice. And that's like saying, when you're in a place where fear is clouding your mind all the time, you don't want to be told to practice, because that takes a long time, right? It takes a long time to build up healthy habits in your mind. It takes a long time to change. It takes a long time to change. But imagine this. Imagine if your nail artist 3 years ago had never started practicing doing nails and doing them badly, and they never got to the point where they were able to do nails that are T, and they couldn't do your nails that were looking T. My nails look crusty right now, but because they had never started practicing. It's like that, but with emotions, because emotional mastery is really a skill, and you can't master any skill without like trying repeatedly, continuously. No matter what your starting point is, even if you're bad at the beginning, even if you're good at the beginning, you can't actually get really good unless you keep doing it, which is something that I really have taken a long time to learn, because I just like being good at stuff the second I start doing it. But if your goal is to live a life without fear, which it should be, because fear honestly only ever takes away from the human experience, you have to just start refocusing your attention away from fear. So when you're fearful of something, you can acknowledge it, right? Be like, oh my God, whatever. I saw a spider. I was like, oh my God. And then you have to center yourself and then get past that moment of fear, get past that moment of danger, whatever. If there is a moment of danger, you have to recognize if there isn't as well, so that you can then feel calm and centered enough to then focus your mind on other things that make you feel even anything neutral, or something a little bit less negative than fear. Because fear is pretty negative. It's pretty scary. But, oh my God, this is so dirty. That's crazy. I haven't used this in so long. I'm not putting that on my face today. Collecting dust. We will start off with the skincares. I had to get a second one of these. This brand is actually really good. I know people talk about it, but if people talk about it doesn't mean it's bad. Same goes with emotions like anger, right? If you find yourself angry all the time, that's probably taking away from the joy and the pure-hearted love that you have in everyday life if you just are stuck on anger. But you have to be able to cope emotionally with that, so then you can not be angry. People say you can have emotional coping skills. What is an emotional coping skill? I still don't know, but somehow I'm living life without anger, because honestly, I feel like my emotional coping skills don't look like other people's emotional coping skills. And that's okay. Your emotional coping skills don't have to look like anybody else's. They don't have to look like the wellness guru who talks about how they journal and do all this stuff. Yeah, journaling's great, right? That's all lovely and fine. But at the end of the day, it's something that you can do that's a habit that you're going to continuously do, so that you can change the way that you think and the way that you feel deep down. And that is a really key point, because you can't just change the way that you think, right? You have to change the way that you think in order to change the way that you feel. Not just to change the way that you think. Because sometimes when I was first starting, like when I was doing cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and I first started, I was like, yeah, I could change the way that I think, but it's not going to change the way that I feel. And cognitive therapy does work to some extent, but you really have to go into it with the mindset that the changes you make in your thought process are for the goal of changing the way that you feel, so that way you can kind of identify what feels better and what doesn't, and that way you can choose those thoughts. Because cognitive behavioral therapy is really just teaching you to choose the things that you think and to be aware of the things that you think, so that you can think better things, right? You can think the more optimistic thing, you can think the more peaceful thing, but you have to do that with the intention of feeling better in your body, right? And it's the same thing with emotions, right? Because you have a choice in every moment to choose to continue feeling an emotion or to let the emotion go. And it's really about what feels good in your body, right? If anger feels really good in your body, actually, and not just in your head up here, then you should feel it for a second. You should let your body feel that, so you can let go of it and not have it built up in your body, not have it scary, right? Because anger's kind of scary. I'm like, when I know when I used to get angry, I would get scared of myself, because like, why am I angry? And that kind of brings me to another point where, like, you don't necessarily know that what you think you're feeling is what you're feeling unless you sit with it, if you need to, and identify and learn to identify how you actually feel and what that feels like in your body. Because for me and for everybody, fear and anger feel really different from each other, right? But sometimes in the past, I may have felt fear, but in my mind, I was like, oh my God, I'm angry right now. Because your body and your mind can be disconnected. And you have to be on the same level between your body and your mind if you're going to level up and live a life where you can let go of those things. Because if you're like, oh my God, I'm so angry, I have to let go of this anger, but deep down you're really afraid, you're really afraid of losing somebody, or you're afraid of losing a thing, or you're afraid of losing whatever, or you're afraid of change, or you're afraid of whatever, right? If that's how you're really feeling on the deep down interior organal level, like with your brain and stuff, but then you're outside, you're like, oh my God, I'm so angry at this person because they didn't buy me flowers, right? But then internally, you're actually just afraid that you're going to lose them because they didn't buy you flowers. And somewhere inside of you, you're programmed to think that this person isn't doing this thing for you. That must mean that they're going to leave me. But if there's a disconnect between what you think, your body feels, and what you think your body feels, then it's going to be harder to let go of what your body actually feels. So it's really important to get in tune with yourself, to know what you think, know what you feel, to know what certain emotions actually feel like in your body, and to know the core of where your emotions are coming from, right? So that you can let go of them. As simple as that. And honestly, once you let go of fear, you never let it go. I refuse to be fearful. Because I don't want to attract shit that's scary. No, I want to attract peaceful love. Like, I want to attract joy and happiness and abundance. And I don't want to attract anything from a fear mentality, because anything from a fear mentality just will have this ick in it. And I don't like icky ick. No. I like joyful joy and peaceful love. So it's really a choice that once you start making, you will absolutely never return to the dark side. And it like, you'll always have, in some moments, you'll always have a little bit of fear. You can't ever necessarily like completely eliminate it, but what you can do is let go of it as soon as possible if you're feeling it, and bring yourself back to the baseline, which is peace, which is joy. Your baseline should always be peace, and your baseline should always be positive. Your baseline should always be positive, so you can get back to that baseline quicker. It's like a daily practice of choosing that, right? But once you start choosing it, you literally, maybe for the first like month or two, it's like, oh my God, am I really choosing this every day? And then you just choose every day, and then it's nothing. Like, it really gets ingrained in you the same way that being negative. It's the same way that being negative gets ingrained in you, and being negative becomes being negative. It's the same way that becoming negative. It's the same way that being negative becomes so easy to do because it was trained in you as a child. And then it just becomes so easy once you make the shift and like go through that transitional phase where you have to choose it really, really, really intentionally every day. Then it just becomes natural in your body's wiring, where your body is wired to be a lot less fearful, and your body is wired to be a lot more positive thinking. I was gonna put this really cute sweater on because I was like, I wanna be cute, but I didn't do that, so I just got it. It's like a cute little Glossier. Anyways, I'm almost done. I'm doing this because I've heard that it like removes lymph. I don't really understand the science behind that. Yeah, so my skin is kind of glassy right now. This is the first time I'm doing a full skincare routine since I got my freckles tattooed. And it feels so fucking good because I love skincare. I love having glassy, glowy skin. Like, I prefer skincare over makeup. God, it just feels so good. I really want to find a good brow product, a good brow serum, because I don't want to put I got this brow gel. I'm not going to throw any shade or throw anybody under the bus, but Grande Brow, I will never be putting your shit anywhere near my brows, nor most of the other brow growth serums, because I'm not trying to burn my fucking facial fat off. No shade to y'all, but y'all gotta do some clinical trials or something. The tea isn't teeing. That's all I got. That's all I have to say about this topic. On to another day. Don't be fearful tomorrow, all right, y'all? If you do watch this video again,